these brands are gonna have to change. They're gonna have to redeem their reputation, because it's just going to get to the point where it becomes a joke, and no one's going to be willing to spend, you know, over $5,000 on a handbag that was made in a sweatshop condition. And I've seen the peak, you know, the 2020 peak, and I've seen the demise, the fall. I can see them falling, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these brands start shutting down their stores, cutting staff. It's happening already. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. So I hate being negative about luxury because you guys know I'm addicted to handbags, but over the last, you know, year or so, to be honest, over the last bloody 10 years of my life, I've realized a lot of things about luxury that perhaps it's not all as it seems, right? I think from my experience working for different brands, and then also hearing about things on the news, on social media, I know that everything that's on the news and even on TikTok and social media, you should all take it with a pinch of salt, right? Because there's a lot of fake news out there as well. But it has been reported this week that Loro Piana is using subcontractors to develop or produce their cashmere coats, and they are Chinese-owned factories in Italy that are operating under unfair working conditions. And coming from a luxury brand like Loro Piana with such a premium price tag, it's a bit unsettling to hear, because when you think of a premium brand like Loro Piana, you think everything is going to be ethically made, of the highest standard, you know, by some highly trained artisan that's been there for years or whatever. You don't think of poor working conditions where staff are working overtime, they're busting their butt, and they're getting paid below minimum wage. It just seems like it's not luxury. But it just so happens that there have been many different luxury brands that have been exposed for doing this lately, including, you know, it's been reported in the news, like even Dior, with factories are operated in a way that is not fair to the workers. So, you know, extended trading hours where they're working more than a human being really should. You know, simple human rights is what they're being exploited for. And why are they doing it? Why are these designer labels even doing this? Well, it's because they're wanting to make as much money as possible. It's very greedy. It's super greedy, you guys. These luxury houses, I think they've built a reputation over, you know, decades about being something to aspire to. Through, if you've, you know, watched their runway shows and you get enthralled by the fantasy, if you look at the ads on, you know, at the bus stop, in the magazine, on Vogue, you know, you start to build this perception of designer brands that they're perfect, but they're not, you guys. I can tell you guys they're not perfect. Over the years, my love for different designer brands has kind of dwindled, I would say. For me, I would say I started to see that brands were cutting costs with the quality. So over the last few years of collecting handbags, I've noticed that the quality of bags has drastically declined, like to the point where simple kind of stitching is being overlooked, you know, glue residue everywhere, wonky flaps, all this. And particularly, I think we've seen on social media a lot of people complaining about, you know, things like Louis Vuitton's recent Murakami collection having these quality defects. I was watching Queen of Diamonds yesterday. I'll link her below. She's a fellow Aussie as well, who was explaining her disappointment over her Louis Vuitton unboxings. Now, as I said, guys, I don't want to be completely negative about luxury because it's something I still buy, but it's you can't kind of close your eyes to the facts, right? The quality they're slipping, guys. I don't know why they're slipping. It is rumored that like some brands have completely cut their quality control, which I don't not believe, to be honest, because when you have like big black paint splodges on things and it gets sent out, when you have, you know, pop stitches, these are simple things that you wouldn't even get from sometimes a fast fashion brand. Well, you would. Like, if I go into Zara and I look at the stitching, if I look at the wonkiness of the pockets, yeah, I can see, oh, you know, maybe these were not made in the best working conditions. These looks like they were rushed when they were sewn. Like, when something looks like it's rushed, it's not taken care in crafting, you can tell. And so when I could start seeing in luxury brand bags that things were wonky, things looked like they were being rushed, like stitched in a fast way, I could see perhaps the working conditions were not the best. If you have conditions which are fair, if workers are not pressured to churn out bags like crazy, to take their time and to take care in each product, you wouldn't see these kind of quality defects. So I had my kind of feeling about this for a while, because just looking at the way that some of these bags are made these days, they look rushed and they look like they're cutting corners. And it's starting to seem like luxury is really not worth it anymore. I think the most impactful news this year was definitely that video that like went viral on TikTok. The guy in that factory who was claiming that he produced luxury bags to the same standard as real bags, and that perhaps even authentic bags were made in the same factory as fake bags. I get so many people saying to me, oh, all luxury bags are made in China, the same factory as the fakes. With some brands, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. We don't know though. There's no actual proof of that. But I think that was something that really impacted on luxury brands' reputation. I think that still stuck with a lot of people, and a lot of people are just not willing to pay the price for luxury anymore because of this. And this Loro Piana news is just another cherry on top of reasons why people are probably not wanting to spend their money on luxury anymore. Why do I spend money on luxury anymore if I know, like, you know, maybe it's not all as it seems? And I already knew this for years, that maybe it's not all as it seems. Like, it's not all glamorous, you guys. A lot of it is just storytelling, and the brands, you know, it is basically just storytelling. Luxury brands, it's about the fantasy. It's not always about the quality. It's not always about how the workers are treated. I know, you guys, the workers are not always treated great. And they are taken advantage of very often, especially in the fashion industry. It doesn't surprise me that some of these brands are now being exposed and people are waking up and not buying luxury anymore. I do still find that there are well-made bags out there, particularly if you get older bags, vintage bags. If you look at brands like Hermes, I still think that they pride themselves in their quality, and you can see that in the handbags, that a lot of the bags are really well made, and you can see there was time taken to create them. They also don't cut costs on leather, which is good. You can see the leather is good quality, whereas other brands you experience peeling, you know, wonkiness, inconsistencies, which tell me that they don't really take pride in their product or their staff or their company, and really they're just trying to maximize profit. But for a brand to survive long term, these brands are going to have to change. They're going to have to redeem their reputation, because it's just going to get to the point where it becomes a joke, and no one's going to be willing to spend, you know, over $5,000 on a handbag that was made in a sweatshop condition, right? With really not great materials either. So I think these brands are going to have to either change their ways, or I don't know what they're going to do at this point, guys, because I see the end coming. I know it sounds a bit dramatic, guys. I don't think these brands are going to kind of completely collapse, but I do foresee them closing down a lot of stores, particularly in Australia, which is a market that, you know, around 2018, 2017, a lot of luxury brands came to Melbourne and they opened up stores in like Chadstone, and I worked there, guys. Like, I've worked it for different luxury brands, and I've seen the peak, you know, the 2020 peak, and I've seen the demise, the fall. I can see them falling. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these brands start shutting down their stores, cutting staff. It's happening already. And this is something that you'll notice in smaller markets like Australia. It's not going to be as obvious in maybe the US or Europe, because there's a bigger population there. There's more people to buy. But I've noticed like these stores, they're not buzzing anymore, you guys. Like, I went on the weekend to Chadstone and there was like nobody in the luxury stores. There was a line outside Louis Vuitton. I will say that. There was a line outside Louis Vuitton, but all the other brands were completely dead. And that was a Sunday on a school holiday. I just couldn't believe it. Whereas, you know, a few years ago, there was tons of customers, heaps of people buying luxury, and we saw it all over social media as well. Now people are just like, nah, not buying luxury anymore. I will say though, I currently work at a secondhand consignment store and it is quite busy. A lot of people are looking to the pre-love market because they can save a lot. A lot of these bags do not hold the value secondhand, which has always been the case, but now it is like even more obvious now that these retail prices have gone up so much. There is no way you're going to buy a Chanel Classic flap on the secondhand market for $20,000 like it is in the store. In fact, most commonly you'll find it for half price, if not less. So people are now looking to cheaper alternatives if they want to have that little luxury like fix. A lot of people are also looking to brands like Coach, which are much more affordable but offer the same kind of quality as some of these other more highly priced brands. Now in Loro Piana's case, I have heard their quality is really good, but obviously if we're under the impression that their working conditions are not good, then I do think that does affect the reputation of Loro Piana and LVMH brands in general. It really makes me question all of the brands under that company. But what do you think, guys? Are you still buying luxury having this knowledge? And yeah, how are you buying luxury these days? Because I will say, I'm not buying as much luxury from the boutique as I used to. I still buy Hermes, but other than that, you know, from Louis Vuitton, I bought 2 bandeaus from the Murakami collection, which I'm very happy with, but I didn't have enough faith to buy any of the bags or the leather goods because I've had poor experience in the past with the quality. Like I said, I don't like being negative. I don't like, and you know, I'm just sharing what I've noticed over the last few years. So anyways, I know we've heard it a lot as well recently, but you know, this Loro Piana news is, I guess, just another story as to why people are not buying as much luxury as they used to. Thanks for listening to my blabby video today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!